welcome back to the Knitters Party podcast. Thank you again so much for joining me this week. If it's your first time viewing, thank you for coming to visit. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for your loyalty and for coming to check out my knitting podcast. We've got a lot of fun stuff on the docket today, so I'm just going to get right into it. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Meg311yo, and please add me as a friend on Ravelry. I've gotten, all these viewers and all these comments, and then people may be shy to add me as a friend on Ravelry, so don't feel shy at all. Please add me if you're interested, and I will be glad to add you back and check out all of your projects as well. So that is me. Again, my name is Megan. I'm the host of this Knitters Party podcast, and I want to introduce somebody very special, near and dear to my heart. We've got a co-host today for a little bit of this section, and it's my sister. Come here. Oh, don't be shy. Oh, look at that hat.
I'm not a huge fan of the hat.
Well, let's show it off.
Okay.
Do a side profile.
Super cool from the front. A little awkward in the back.
That's my favorite part. She hates that tassel, but I think it is just adorable. Well, we're going to talk about, stop that. We're going to talk about what we're wearing today, but I think I need a beer first because honestly, there's a bunch of interesting things in front of me that you guys are going to see. But first, I'm going to do my little beer segment because this is a party after all. So you can, not yet.
Okay.
No, she has to wear it a little bit longer. I know she doesn't want to wear it. She thinks it looks like a bonnet, which it kind of does. But
if you just take away everything in the back from here up, it's a bonnet.
It's a cute bonnet.
It's a bonnet.
I don't think it's that bad.
Okay.
Anyway,
I'll keep it.
So are you gonna get something to drink, Amanda?
No, I have to drive.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I don't have to drive, so I'm gonna drink
safe.
A little bit. And what we've got for you guys today is something that I have knocked 100 times because I thought it was kind of a silly, stupid idea. This is Rogue Brewery. They have a whole series of this Voodoo Donut beer line, and a lot of them have really funky flavors. And so I've seen chocolate hazelnut, I've seen coffee beers, I've seen all sorts of things. The idea is that it's kind of a donut flavor. This one is called Lemon Chiffon Cruller Ale. And like I said, I've kind of knocked these beers for so long because I think the idea is a little stupid, but I decided I can't knock it till I try it, right? So let's bust right in. This is a giant 22-ounce bottle, so I may or may not.
She might be a little drunk.
I may or may not drink the whole thing.
Hey, what does your glass say?
Oh, well, I was gonna show that off as soon as the beer is in there. You can't show off an empty glass.
Oh. Hey, that's the color of your ring.
It is.
Just call it citrine beer.
Citrine beer, yes.
How
So,
warm.
life is too short to drink shitty beer. You know what I'm saying?
Cheers.
Cheers. Agreed. All right.
Yeah.
So this is a lemon chiffon cruller.
I don't
hate
like
it.
beer, so this is going to be really interesting.
I really don't like it at all. It doesn't taste lemony enough. It's very sweet. The lemon is kind of like a sweet fake lemon flavor. It's not like a bright citrusy, like sour note that I really want it to be. Oh shit.
Is this supposed to taste like a donut?
Mm-hmm. I think that's the idea, is that it tastes like a donut. What's
Guys,
the
it tastes
alcohol?
nothing like a fucking donut.
No, it does not taste like a donut at all.
Ew.
6.8% alcohol by volume, but you can really taste that alcohol, so it's not a very smooth beer. I have to say, that one I'm going to have to take slowly. Sorry, guys. But good try. In general, I think I like Rogue beers, but this one is not one of my favorites. All right, so let's get into the knitting, shall we? Let's start with what we're wearing. And Amanda, because she's so desperate to take it off, Amanda is wearing the beautiful Capuchin hat by, let me get this name right. Her name is Adelaide Ilichmanova. I did my best there.
I'm so sorry, Adeline, if you're watching. I just don't like it on me. It's beautiful for other people.
And honestly, this was a free pattern on Ravelry. I thought it was adorable. Here, we can take it off. I'll let you do it so you can, show your hair.
Like, it's super cute until it's on someone's head.
It's an awesome idea. You knit it first flat. So you knit this whole stretchy part. What's that called? A brim? No. I don't know what it's called.
Asking me.
Right? You knit this part flat, and then you end up connecting it in the round, and then keep going. So there is very little purling because this whole section is all in garter stitch. I'm not giving anything away. It is a free pattern, and it's actually a really cool hat. So just pick it up yourself and take a look. But it's all garter stitch here, and then once you connect it in the round, it's all knitting with a nice decrease in the back. And then I just added these huge tassels, these giant pom-poms.
I want to know what it looks like if you wear it backwards.
Oh, please be my guest, Amanda. See, that's how my husband wears it.
I mean, if you get a button.
Yeah, you could make it into like a balaclava.
I mean, I can barely see, but
I like the tassel on the top, like facing forward.
This is
That's
good for
deal.
Michigan winters.
Yeah.
Just button it right there.
Oh yeah, welcome from Clarkston, Michigan. Hello guys, I know I was in Edmonton last week. I don't actually have a ton of travel planned. We were planning to go to Austin, Texas, but we looked at the tickets and they're too expensive. They were $200 a ticket a week ago. We looked literally like 3 days ago and the price had jumped up to about $500 a ticket. So we can no longer really afford to go to Austin, even though we have friends there. Anyway, so this is a cappuccino hat. I think it's great. It's a free pattern. However, I don't like it on myself, and I'm not going to show you because my hair looks nice today, huh?
So does mine. Put it on.
No, your hair does look good.
Put it on. Put it on.
I don't like it on me. Actually, it looks better on me now.
See? Yeah. But see, that back tassel ruins it for me.
No, the back tassel makes it for me. I love the back tassel.
No.
Without the back tassel, it's a bonnet. With the back tassel, it's a cool
I think
hat.
it's just a bonnet. Either
No,
way.
it's not a bonnet. Anyway, this might be my first charity giveaway. I didn't specifically knit it for charity, so I'm not going to really take, a lot of pride in giving it away. But I don't think I will wear it. Clearly, Amanda won't wear it.
Well, like, I'm trying to like it, but I'm also really trying to...
Oh, that's not the good look.
So, see, I tucked the tassel in.
So you're wearing it inside out? No,
I just tucked the tassel in. And, oh my god, you're right. It looks more like a bonnet.
It's really stupid looking.
It makes you look like a little bit of a cone head.
Yeah. And so this is knit out of Preciosa worsted in their goldfish colorway. And this is, the pattern is written for bulky and super bulky yarn. So what I did is I added, I think like 8 extra stitches just around the brim. Did we decide this is a brim?
The stretchy brim.
The stretchy brim. I added about 8 extra stitches, no big deal. And it fits pretty well. I actually think it's a little big, so I wish I had followed the pattern directions even using this worsted yarn. But you can see that's like a fairly bulky worsted. Anyway, Knit Picks Preciosa. I knit this before Christmas, and I jokingly gave it to Amanda, and then I gave her a real hat for Christmas, which is something that I actually knit for her.
I'm bummed I didn't bring it.
I know, I almost asked you to, I forgot. No, don't show that.
Oh my god, sorry.
Amanda, that's a different section.
Sorry.
Stop that. She doesn't know how this whole thing works, guys. She's not really a knitter. But actually, that brings me into a new, well, let me tell you what I'm knitting, or what I'm wearing first.
I like that.
I'm sure everyone will recognize this. This is my Hitchhiker Scarf by Martina Bem, if that's how you pronounce it. And I have lovingly named this my Mother of Dragons scarf because what I've done here is on each of these little scales, they're scales to me, I've added a few beads. And these are just some purple seed beads they're clear on the outside and they're coated with purple on the inside of the bead. And so it's got kind of a fun look to it, this iridescent look. And this is knit out of Blue Heron lace weight, 100% Egyptian cotton, which you know I love. I don't remember the colorway. I knit this about a year and a half ago, and it's fun. It's really nice. The only thing I'm going to do, it's cotton, so it's not super hot like wool.
It's crunchy.
It is a little crunchy.
Okay.
But that's just because that's because of the stitch. It's all garter stitch, so it's bumpy. You're never gonna have, well,
Of course, a garter stitch is bumpy, of course.
You guys. Anyway, what I think I'm going to do is this has stretched out a ton, and so when you want to wear it, it kind of gets all like limp up at the top here.
It's a great word to describe stuff.
Hey, knitting gets limp. That is a proper knitting term. It's a proper knitting term. Don't tell it otherwise.
Limp and brims.
Limp brim. You don't want a limp brim. So anyway, I think I'm going to take a crochet hook and kind of crochet chain up the top to make that edge a little tighter so that it doesn't crumple up when I try to wear it, because right now it's a pain. This took me about 8 minutes to try and style, and even then Amanda just undid it within 1 second.
Sorry.
It's all right. Okay, so the reason Amanda is here with me is because last week I told you guys that I started knitting because my grandmother had taught me and my sister how to knit when I was 11. She was 13 at that point.
No.
Yeah.
Wasn't that young?
I was 11 when I started knitting.
Oh, I thought it was more like 15.
Nope, so it's been a good 15, 16, 17 years since I've been knitting. But she never really took to it, and I just never put down the needles sort of thing. So anyway, she asked me the other day, she goes, Megan, will you teach me how to knit again? And I said, yeah, of course. And so she came over last night, we had a, couple of drinks, and I retaught her how to knit. And you know what? She picked it up so quickly. So Amanda has our first finished object of the day, and why don't we talk about it?
This is the sexiest item that you will ever use in your kitchen. This is a dishcloth.
A dish rag. Like a scrubby.
A scrubby, a dish scrubby. And it's, I'm gonna speak like you do. It's woven perfectly. And the stitches are nice and tight.
The stitches are very even. You had great tension. I was shocked.
I had great tension. And it took me about 2 hours.
Yeah, but you know what? Actually, that's kind of fast. This would have taken me like maybe a little over an hour. Depends.
Baloney.
There's only 20 stitches.
You guys. Oh no. Yes. No. It's on my Instagram story, so it's gone in like 24 hours by the time you're seeing this. It'll be gone. No, it might not be. At Amanda Decker Fit, the girl literally was like bam, 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 stitching this thing. And I was like, how do you do that?
Well, because Amanda's sitting there and she's throwing her yarn, like letting go of her needles. No big deal. You're literally a brand new knitter. But she picked it up so quickly because she remembered the knit stitch. Mind you, this is a 20 by 20 garter stitch square. It's not anything super complicated, but I wanted to start easy. I didn't want to do one of those corner to corner ones with the yarn overs and the decreases and the increase. I mean, I just wanted to keep it simple for her first project. So tell me, how was it knitting? Did it come back to you easily? What do you think?
Yeah, it came back to me very quickly because I remembered, like, even before you said anything, I was like, I kind of remember the needle and the wrapping, and that was it. And then, so that came back to me pretty quickly. I forgot that you had to push it down the needle. Otherwise, it was very tight at the top. But that came back to me. And this was, I don't think I'd ever even knitted a scarf.
You didn't finish your scarf?
I think I started a scarf and said, no way. And that was apparently when I was 13 years old. But I will use this because, oh my God, I tried to put it on my dog's head last night as a hat. And she tried to bat it off. It was really cute.
Amanda, there are dog hat patterns. Don't you dare put a non-dog item on top of your dog. Literally on top of your dog.
I used the coat to knit her.
Yeah.
Which one day you'll have to see that.
Oh, it's in the intro scene. I put Lily's dog coat on the intro scene because it needed to happen. Can you grab that skein of yarn that had the one that you were knitting with? Yep.
Oh, this.
So this is knit in just some extra yarn I had in my stash. It is Knit Picks Comfy Worsted in that silver sage colorway. It's kind of an accurate representation. It is like a silver sage. There's just a hint of like a cool green to it. And this is 100% cotton, so it's a perfect, dish scrubby. And are you proud of it? Are you going to use it in your kitchen?
I'll use it, absolutely.
Really?
I think I will. I knit it. I put my 2 hours into it. And
she thinks it's a long time, you guys.
I just bought pots and pans that are ceramic nonstick, and so you can't use abrasive materials on them at all. And this is perfection, and especially since nothing really sticks to them, but sometimes you gotta.
Let me make sure.
I'm a little worried though that it's gonna be ugly.
It will be ugly. It's a dishy. It's like a scrubby. You're gonna get all sorts of oils and cheeses and sticky stuff.
It's really cute though.
Yeah. Well, then you make another one. It took you 2 hours, Amanda. That's nothing. Better yet, I will give you a skein of this yarn.
I feel like this should take me like 10 minutes.
No, that would take more than 10 minutes for me. That would take about 45 for me. Don't forget, okay, so what I did, I cast on for her because I'm not going to teach someone the long tail cast on when they're learning how to knit. I cast on 20 stitches, and then I did like a row kind of showing her the movements and everything, and then she just took off from there, and that was it. I did help her with the bind off, but basically the way...
Yeah, you only did half of it.
I only did less than half of it. And to be honest, Amanda had great tension throughout. I told her, like, bind off kind of loosely, and it's a fairly stretchy bind off considering it could have been a lot tighter, but then I wove in her ends as well, so I kind of cheated. I helped her a little bit. But again, like, when you're teaching someone to knit, you don't want to teach someone all the stupid administrative things of weaving in your ends and make sure you tie a knot and blah, blah, blah. So we just decided to say, screw it. I'm going to do it.
I'll use it. I like it a lot.
Do you think you're going to continue knitting?
I don't know.
Do you want a ball of yarn and some needles?
No.
Okay. Well then.
Maybe, because then you'd have to teach me how to cast on and bind off.
Oh girl, there's YouTube for that. There's YouTube for that. That's how I learned how to do every cast on except the long tail. I learned on YouTube. Every bind off except the normal bind off, I learned on YouTube. Even then, when Grandma first taught us, I never learned how to bind off, so I bound off. They didn't have YouTube back in the day. Back before YouTube, what did I do to bind off? I think I called my grandma and asked her how to do it, and I think she gave me like a phone tutorial because I finished this scarf when I was 11.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and I didn't have YouTube then.
Yeah, I don't know. I might, like, it's very therapeutic if I have absolutely no laundry that needs to be done, or if I don't have any work to do.
Well,
like,
so I don't know.
I could see myself maybe doing it again. Maybe.
Just maybe.
But I mean, it's a strong maybe.
Okay, let me know. I'm here for one more month. You've got me, you've got my yarn and my needles. Except my good yarn. She only gets like cotton stash yarn, maybe some acrylic.
So like, what's the difference between good yarn and what you gave me?
So, we can go into that. So let me show you a little bit more about good yarn. This is going to continue along with our finished objects for the week because you guys, I finished my Mercury socks.
Those are really cute.
You like them?
Yeah, I do.
Cool. This is knit. Again, I mean, this is the third time you guys are seeing these. They're knit in Knit Picks. Oh, shit. Is there sock yarn? Oh, well, I told you guys a million times, so if you don't remember, I don't have to remember, right? So this is their Knit Picks, like regular sock weight yarn, and then this top, this black toes, heels, and cuffs is the Knit Picks Capretta, which is a MCN blend. And so feel the top of it, better yet, feel the toe.
Well, every single...
It's so soft, right?
Yeah.
The toe especially, because that's got cashmere in it.
Mm.
And then the rest of this, it plumped up so much, you guys. When I was knitting it, it was a little scratchy. I soaked it, and it has gotten a lot softer. Granted, it's still a little bit scratchy. It is Knit Picks. I mean, girls on a budget, you know what I mean? But the heels, toes, and cuffs have Mercury, they have merino wool, cashmere, like 9% cashmere, and I think I want to say 15% nylon. Wow. So this is a great blend.
Can I put this on?
Yeah, of course. You want to put it on? Oh, Amanda's so stretchy. She'll model it for you. They're kind of big because I knit them for a dude. I knit them for my husband's uncle. We went over this. I knit them for my husband's uncle, but they're the wrong color. Oh, does that fit you?
No.
Is it a little big?
Oh my god, this is awkward, isn't it?
It's super awkward. Remember that time I made you socks out of worsted weight acrylic yarn?
No.
I think she still has them. You wore them on your hands in that picture.
That one, yes.
Yes.
I did. That sounds like me.
Yeah.
They're very soft and comfy.
They are. So this is more quality yarn, especially this black, because this is super soft. I wish you guys could feel this. This MCN
really
blend is so soft. More so than this one, which is, I want to say merino and nylon.
Sorry.
It's cool. I want to say merino and nylon, but I'm not sure the blend on that. So I'm not going to put it up here, you guys. Don't worry about it. You've all shopped on Knit Picks. And if you haven't, you should. Because Knit Picks has really good, they've got good yarn at a great price. And for me, I feel like $1 that I earn or $1 that I save is $1 I could spend in a foreign country and buying yarn at a local yarn shop. So when I just need to like bang out some projects because I'm having fun, Knit Picks is kind of my go-to. So you're probably going to see a lot of Knit Picks on the show, but that's so fun. So yeah, do you feel the difference between like...
Oh, 100%. Well, and I love that, and please enjoy my non-professional terms for things. But
her non-professional opinion.
Bottom section of the sock,
we call that the foot.
The foot is completely different than this, and this is all holy, and this is super tight, stitched, wound, and then this is really soft, and I love these. I really do. I think they're very pretty.
And so when I had shown you guys last, I was about maybe here, and I just zoomed up the leg. For my cuff, I did a 1x1 rib, and I did Jenny's super stretchy bind off, which you'll see kind of flares out a little bit. However, I don't mind that because by the time you put it over your leg, when you kind of stretch it out, and heaven forbid you need, if you need to stretch it out a little farther, like if it goes that far up the calf, it really stretches out. And I was super shocked at how stretchy this bind off really was. So I had a great time knitting it. Did I just say I had a great time knitting socks? I didn't, to be honest, but it was fun. Once you pass a couple of things, it's really fun. Also, a note on the heel here. I did not follow the pattern. The pattern is for cuff down socks, and I knit them toe up 2 at a time because I can't stand to do anything crazy. But the heel was written for a heel flap and gusset. And so I had to kind of make it up as I went along. And I just decided to do a short row heel, and I think I may have gone too far in. Like it points out, here we go, points out really a lot there.
Assuming someone has an elf heel, like very pointy at the end.
An elf, so elves have small heels, I never knew.
Well, I don't know if they
Well, if I ever meet an elf, maybe I'll give them some socks.
Yes, because the heel will be perfect
Because
for
the
them.
heel will be perfect for them, you guys. This is clearly it. So that's it. Do you have any final thoughts about your knitting experience?
I love how therapeutic it was. I can't say that it's mindless, but at the same time, do you kind of feel like mindless about it? Like, I know what I'm doing. I can just like go.
Some projects, yes. If it's easy, absolutely,
Okay.
it's mindless. But we were watching Ghostbusters, so it's mindless enough to...
And I could like follow along with that, but I was still looking down.
Amanda was quoting. Don't think she's just following along with the movie. She's quoting it while she's sitting there knitting. Like, she's intensely knitting. And she'll just, I don't even know, like,
I didn't even have to watch the movie.
Like, she knew everything.
It's Vigo. It's Ghostbusters 2, by the way. Not 1. We did not have 1. We wanted 1, but we ended up with Vigo and Janos.
We don't have 1 because she took it to her house. So I'm like, I can't find Ghostbusters 1. We have 2.
If you hear that over there, that's my crazy dog. The one who's in the intro unit with the coat.
Her name is, I don't want to say her name or else she'll come over and I don't want her to bug us.
Nope. Too late. Nope.
Okay, we're fine.
Anyway.
So yeah.
Final thoughts. I love how therapeutic it is, and I can so appreciate all of the incredible work that knitters do. I don't know if I want to do it, but it's Go away.
Oh, she's really cute though.
She's really cute.
I don't want to say anything because she'll come over. I don't want her to.
This show is about knitting.
I know. It is about knitting and not dogs, damn it.
I would love to make more dish rags, actually, because those are functional.
And they're easy. They're the easiest thing you can make.
They are. So eventually I would like you to teach me to cast off and cast on. Cast on and bind off?
You got it.
Because I could see myself making like tons of these and never buying sponges again.
Yep. That's what a lot of us do.
Environmentally friendly is my calling.
Okay. The dog
Oh
is
no,
right
I was
here.
ignoring her.
Oh, I don't think I can ignore her. Can I? Come up here. Lily, come up here.
Oh, you have to
Oh, here, let me scoot over.
Bubbly beans.
Hi, is that a puppy? Look at the puppy.
Say hello.
Aw, hi. And this is what Amanda did. She put
I
this
put
little
it in her
hat over
head.
her. Oh, she
She did not want it.
Just like that. It was so cute. It was like
I
a little...
know.
a
No
little
beans. You can't eat
super
my dish
cute.
rag.
Okay, that's
Go
enough.
away.
Go away, Beans. Thank you, Beans. I love you, though. She's so pretty. Ooh. All right, guys. Well, so now that, Amanda said her piece, I think you have to head out.
I do, but
so-
thank you guys for watching. I'm sorry if I'm not a knitter or you're offended by me saying I don't want to knit again.
It's totally fine.
But
We've got
I commend you. Command me, Lord. Ghostbusters.
Another
2
Ghostbusters.
reference.
line.
Anyway.
Oh, God. There's Amanda for you.
See ya.
Bye, guys. We'll be back. So I'm back alone. Sorry, I don't have a co-host for the whole show, but she's not really a knitter. So thanks for her for coming on and showing off a little bit. Before we get into the works in progress, which I've got a couple of fun ones today, I wanted to show you guys, I know last week I talked all about amigurumi, but I had said that I made a few extra for people as gifts, and I was in Canada, and now I'm back in my family home in Michigan, and so there's a few extra amigurumis that I just wanted to show you. I made one for my mom, my dad, and my sister. That's our nuclear family, is, my mom, dad, sister, and me. So just the 4 of us. And I made all of these back in 2012 when I made all my amigurumis. And this one, I had made for my sister. It's a giraffe. But not just any giraffe. This pattern is called GG Giraffe, but it's spelled Giraf. I'm not sure where the designer is from. So the design is called Gigi Giraffe by Marieke van Loo. I want to say she's South African. Just with a name like that, it's possible. I'm not 100%, but this pattern is just adorable. So we call it Gigi Giraffe because it's Giraf. There's no F-E at the end. And so it's definitely an alternate spelling. But it's adorable. And it is crocheted, not knit. and it's got all these additional little spots that you can place on there yourself. They give you sizes to make small, medium, and large spots. I love this pattern, and I've made three Gigi giraffes, one for my sister and 2 for other, just children that have come through my life or my parents' life, or they needed a gift. But yeah, it's Gigi giraffe, you guys. Unfortunately, I did not have safety eyes at this point, so I just used a couple little buttons, and so she's a little expressionless, but she's got a little smile. I can't tell if that's like crocheted. No, I must have like used a darning needle or something. Anyway, Gigi giraffe, super cute. I love that little guy. And then for my dad, I made another one of these. This is the octopus pattern by Hansi Singh. Again, just a genius pattern. This one is a paid pattern, so I'm not going to give anything away, but it is fantastic. And this one, this one looks better than the one I had last week, but that one was mine, and so it was in a little worse shape. My dad keeps his nice and pristine. This one has a gigantic head. It's like an alien head. I just think it's the cutest pattern. So anyway, my pride and joy, and this was the first amigurumi pattern that I made out of that knitted amigurumi book by Hansi Singh. And I definitely bit off a little more than I could chew at this point, but it was so enticing and so adorable that I had to knit this first. And so when they talk about getting your feet wet and just like diving in with a pattern that you may or may not be prepared for, this was it for me. This is the Hermit Crab pattern, also by Hansi Singh. Look at that shell. Look at these little pinchers. Look at that face. And all these little legs. It also comes with these little whiskers that she gives you great instructions how to make. Oh my god, this pattern is what started me on all my amigurumi kick. I don't know how my mom ended up with it because I want this back, to be honest. But she lived, my parents lived in Florida for a long time, and so I think I just gave it to her thinking it would be a nice desk ornament or something like that. But I just can't even. And again, I think this is knit in, Red Heart solids, or this one might be Lion brand. It looks a little thicker than the Red Heart, at least for the red. But look at that. It comes with amazing like claws. Great instructions, incredibly well-written pattern. I really hope you guys check out Hansi Singh for her amigurumi designs. She's amazing, my knitting idol. And I know I said this last week, but I really can't say it enough. Look at that crab. You guys, this is insane. So anyway, that's about the end of my amigurumis. I do love them all, but this one is super proud. However, it was kind of a pain in the ass to try to sew all these things together because you're ending up, sorry, Hansi, I'm gonna give a little bit. You make the shell and then you kind of put everything and attach it to the shell. That means you're left with this empty shell vessel. I mean, you stuff it with fiberfill as you go, but you have to kind of sew all these legs. You have to sew the head. You have to sew these pinchers to each other and to the shell. And it was really difficult. It was incredibly difficult to do. So I think I would do it again and I'd probably be better at it, but I think this turned out great. So anyway, that's the end of my amigurumi. I promise, for now. I can't guarantee that it's going to be the end of it all, but that's that. So those are all my finished objects. You saw the capuchin hat my sister was wearing. You've seen the Mercury socks. You've seen my lovely hitchhiker scarf. And honestly, one last note on the socks. I said in episode 1, and I'm pretty sure I said in episode 2, that I don't love knitting socks. I still don't love knitting socks. I feel like there's a lot more functional knitwear out there. Also, I never knew that you could actually wear socks in shoes. I really thought that these were exclusively house socks. And so everyone out there, all these hand dyers, gorgeous, master dyers, whoever, they're always saying, oh, this is my sock yarn base. This is my sock yarn base. And I took that to mean it has nylon in it. It's good for socks. But I never really knew you could wear socks in boots and shoes and wear them like regular socks. So now that I realize that they're a little more functional, I might make more socks, but I want to wear these in my shoes and see how I feel in them, because I would love to be wearing knitted garments every single day, be it a scarf, a pair of socks, a garment, a sweater, something. But I'm wary because I put a lot of time into these, and these feel like they're going to last, especially if I just wear them around the house. They will last forever. So do I want to ruin them by wearing them in shoes, but getting more enjoyment out of them and getting more use? I'll have to decide. I'm going to try them out once. I'm going out with a friend on Friday. We're doing like a little double date with our men. And maybe I'll wear them out on Friday. We'll see. I'll let you guys know how that works out. All right, so let's move on to works in progress because I've got a couple of fun things. The first work in progress, which I'm going to show you guys, I can't believe I haven't shown you this bag. This bag is literally ginormous. Here it is next to my head. This is not just a project bag. I use this as my shove all my knitting in here bag. And my mother-in-law made it. It's her own design. These black sort of, I don't know what fabric that is, but it is strong. These go all the way around the top and bottom, and so there's no way this bag is coming apart. I picked out the fabric myself. This is kind of like a pirate fabric. She just got it at her local fabric store in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. But I just love this project bag. So this is where my sweater is living. This is my first and my most exciting. Let me get this figured out for you. This is my Julissa sweater. And when you saw last, it was right where that stitch marker is, right here in the middle. Now I've connected the body. The sleeves are on just some extra cords that I had, little Knit Picks cords. And I have cast on the extra stitches in the middle to make sort of this dropped scoop neck is what she calls it, a scoop neck sweater. And it's amazing. And I've started on the cable pattern. You cannot even see it really. Oh, that's because it's inside out. I'm looking at it. Here we go. You can see I've done just one cable. There's a little lace pattern over here. It's an amazing pattern, you guys, and I'm having so much fun knitting it. And I don't know how much of it you could see last time, but it's got this beautiful plate cable on both arms, and there's also one down the front in the middle. It's incredible. I mentioned that I had made one of these before, and I did, and I had to frog it. It was all acrylic yarn. It was terrible. I could not handle it, but I knew that this was a sweater that I wanted to wear out and about and that I wanted to be able to use more regularly than a wool sweater. So I am knitting this out of cotton. This is Knit Picks Comfy Worsted in their Celestial colorway, and it is 75% Pima cotton, 25% acrylic, but it is so nice to work with. It does get a little fuzzy with the cotton, so like some of the strands, you know, they stick on your fingers and you have to like kind of ball them up and throw them away. But I think I'm gonna wear this, and that's something that is important to me. So I'm hoping that I can finish this, well, I'm hoping to work on this so that I can finish it within 2 months. That's a month and a half, that's my timeline. So yeah, today is like mid-January. Maybe I'll get it done by the time I go to London February 15th, but we'll see. We'll see. So that's my first work in progress. The nice thing is that I'm having fun knitting it, and that's what matters to me, you know? And so I did have to modify the stitch count and everything because I was not getting gauge and I was not comfortable going up so many needle sizes to get gauge with this yarn. So I just did some math and I'm kind of making it custom. I do that a lot, but let me see if I can get a picture of this pattern without giving away any information. Here we go. This is kind of a good one. This is the scoop neck pullover. She has instructions for the long sleeves or for the little cap sleeves like that. I'm going for the long or like the 3/4 length sleeves, but it's a beautiful, well, she's a beautiful model, first of all, great designer. Mine's gonna look a little different on my body, but that's okay. I think it'll still look great. But it's a fitted, nice pullover, gorgeous. And like I've said before, I really have found a lot of Vanessa Smith's patterns to be gorgeous, and so I might be knitting something again in the future. But like I said, the next thing I want to knit is, she has a coat, like a little, it might be a cardigan, but it's really like a coat because it's knit in sport weight yarn. Anyway, it takes over 3,000 yards of yarn for my size. And I think because she is an extremely loose knitter based on her gauge in this pattern, I think I would probably need more because I would have to go down. I'm not comfortable making such a large gauge and getting some like loosey-goosey fabric. So I would have to make it a much smaller gauge. Anyway, I'm gonna need more yarn. That's what I'm trying to say here and just failing epically. But that's that. So anyway, moving on to my next work in progress. I have decided after watching the Yarn Hoarder podcast, she made all those knitted felted slippers for her family and for her friends for Christmas. And immediately after I saw that episode, it's been about a month now, I ordered yarn to do the same. And so what I have is kind of a hoe. Guys, I have a hoe. This is a half object. This is one of the slippers. And I have not yet felted it. So this thing is as big as a clown shoe. I mean, like it's huge, right? This is knit with Knit Picks Wool of the Andes, and I've got two colorways here. The first colorway is Aurora Heather. Sorry, I'll try to get that. Oh, it's really blowing out. There we go. Aurora Heather, that's this dark green. And I'm knitting it with Wool of the Andes Persimmon Heather, which is this beautiful orange color. Go ahead, focus. You get the idea. It's the Persimmon Heather. And I just think these are going to be awesome slippers when I'm done with them. So I've cast on the second one. I've got a little bit of the foot on the sole, not a big deal. So I'm not going to show that to you. But I wanted to show you guys these giant clown shoes because my foot right now will probably come to about, like, if I were to stick it, you know, all the way to the toe, my foot probably comes to here. So there's a good 5 to 6 inches on the bottom here where I hope it shrinks up enough. I'm following this pattern for my size. It is knit for a bulky or super bulky yarn. I'm just holding some worsted weight held double. And that's how the Yarn Hoarder did it. And I believe she used the exact same yarn. So I'm hoping I get similar results. We'll figure it out. You know, I'm going to donate that capuchin hat. Maybe I'll end up donating some handmade felted slippers. And so in her podcast, she talks about purchasing some additional suede heel and toe ball suede leather things to like stitch onto the bottom of your slipper so that you don't slip around. And I found out that Knit Picks makes them, and so they're kind of for right there, the toes and the heels of your slippers. And I think they're really great. I got the medium size. This one is in like a nice gray. They only had gray or I think one other color. I don't remember the other color though, maybe brown. No, I would have chosen brown. So they probably only had the one color, but that's okay. They were a little bit cheaper than the ones that the Yarn Hoarder mentions on her podcast. And so I just picked up a set when I ordered my yarn off Knit Picks, and I'm really happy. I hope that this works. This is gonna be my first felting project, you guys. And so this Knit Picks Wool of the Andes, it's a little bit scratchy. I'm not gonna lie, but it's 100% wool. Andean wool, let me see, Peruvian Highland wool, I'm sorry. So, you know, from the Andes, literally in Peru. And it's fun. I hope that once it felts, you can see some of the stitch definition still, because I don't mind seeing a couple little knitted V's on there. I want it to look handmade without looking homemade, if you get my gist. You know what I mean? And so if the Yarn Hoarder can do it, I can too. I don't need a wall of yarn behind me to knit like a pro. So here we go. The one thing that I did not care for is when I first bound off the green, because what they have you do, whatever. When I first bound off the green, it started rolling, and it still rolls. So I added this sort of crochet chain in the inside of the slipper in the contrast color, which I think adds a nice touch. And it's still rolling. So I'm hoping that once I felt it out, that I can kind of like stretch it into shape so that, you know, creates an opening without rolling, because right now it rolls pretty bad. And so I don't want that to end up in the final project. The worst case scenario is that the roll would felt to the underside and that I wouldn't be able to unroll it. So I'm hoping that it works out, but we'll see. I think I'm going to finish my other one and then felt them both at the same time. I have endless amounts of laundry that my idea is to put these inside, each one put inside a pillowcase so that it doesn't felt to each other, so that it, hopefully has a little less resistance inside the washer itself. But I've never felted before, so I'm going to look up some online forums and get some advice before I throw them in the wash. There is some advice in the pattern, which I really appreciate too, because the designer probably knows that people like me may be uncomfortable felting just because they've never done it before. And so we'll see how it works. We'll see how it works. All right, so those are my 2 works in progress. And the last thing that I kind of want to talk about is my trip to Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, because I was there for about a week and a half visiting family. And as we all know, the Grocery Girls are from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. And I stopped into their local yarn shop to see if I could make some purchases. And so their yarn shop is called River City Yarns in Edmonton, downtown Edmonton, Alberta. And it is a fantastic yarn shop, one of the best I've been to. And I've been to several. There's some small ones here in Michigan. Okay, funny story actually. Here in Michigan, I live in a small town called Clarkston. It's in Oakland County, very small town though. There is a local yarn shop, right? And the only time I've gone into this yarn shop, I was maybe 15 or 16 years old, still fairly young because I went with my mother, so I don't think I could drive at that time. And the ladies look at me because they see me kind of shopping around and I'm looking at colors and I'm looking at yarn, and they look at me and they're like, "Oh, can we help you find something?" And I was like, "Oh, no, thank you. I'm just looking around." And the lady goes, "Do you even knit?" And she gives me this judgmental look, like, "Do you even knit?" And I was like, "Actually, I do knit, thank you. But I'm, and I didn't say this, of course, at the time, but I was like, thank you for friggin' profiling me. Just because I'm this young girl doesn't mean I don't know my handicrafts, doesn't mean I don't know my yarn from my, or doesn't mean I don't know my wool from my acrylic." I was really offended. And so I actually kept shopping around. I don't know if I purchased anything. Again, this was a long time ago, at least 10 years ago. And so I don't think I purchased anything. But just being profiled like that was really upsetting. And I've been to several more yarn stores since, and I'm still, a young woman, young lady, and I've never been profiled like that again. And so thankfully, I haven't experienced that, but it was a really sad feeling. It was a really hollow feeling when somebody's asking you, "Do you even knit?" just because you're a young girl. So if any of you guys out there are yarn store owners, just know, who cares what people are using the yarn for, whether they're knitting, crocheting, or whether they're using it for their craft projects or science projects at school. Who cares? They're patrons of your store. Act respectfully. I was just shocked by her actions. So I don't know, maybe it's just me, and maybe I interpreted it as being kind of snarky when it wasn't supposed to be. But how am I supposed to know, and how am I supposed to differentiate? That's not my business. But anyway, back to the story. I went to River City Yarns in Edmonton, and guess who I run into? Tracy of the Grocery Girls podcast. And mind you, I go to Edmonton about twice a year to visit my husband's family. And so I actually went to, the last time I was there in August 2016, I went to their knitting circle. They call it knitting circle. It's like knit night. It's just some ladies knitting at the yarn shop. And so I spent, a little time with Tracy and, got to know her a little bit. I checked way back on my Instagram. I took like a little fan photo with her, and I was so excited to meet Tracy of the Grocery Girls. But she was a real sweetheart and a real person. That was what I was honestly, I expect everybody to be a real person, but for her to kind of almost be like a knitting celebrity and to just be able to talk casually with me was really nice. So I met her at Knit Night in August 2016, and I go into the yarn store again, and she's there working. And so I had messaged her a few weeks earlier, and I was like, "Hey, I've got a new podcast. Do you mind checking me out?" Because I know her in real life, so what's the worst that can happen? She says, no big deal. So anyway, she is helping another customer, but she's like, "Hi, welcome," shows me in. She finishes up with that customer and she's like, "Megan?" And I was like, "What?" She remembered my name. Anyway, we just had a nice little chat, caught up a little bit, and it was just so sweet to talk to her. So Tracy, if you're out there watching, you're so cool. And thank you for, just talking with me a little bit and entertaining this little fangirl. and a little podcaster too. But it turns out she did watch my first podcast, which was very sweet because I know she's got a million things to do. But anyway, my yarn store experience at River City Yarns was great. They, like I said, have a million yarns, and I went in there with a purpose. I went in there looking for yarn to make a set of mittens because it's been cold in Michigan. It was freezing cold up in Edmonton, and I don't have a set of handmade mittens. I don't even have a set of gloves, not store-bought, nothing. I've lived in San Diego for 3 years. We don't really need warm weather gloves, hats, scarves. We don't need to bundle up. So anyway, I need stuff to bundle now. I'm in cold weather and I'm going to London. I need stuff to bundle. And so I ended up purchasing some amazing yarn, and I was looking for worsted. They have a whole wall of worsted weight yarn in, different, how they do their store is that they organize it by weight. And so, all the worsted, all the DK, all the, sport weight, then fingering, then lace. It was so well organized. They had the best brands. They had the best of everything. And I picked up a couple skeins. Eee! So I'm really excited. This is what I've decided to knit my, my mittens out of. And so this is Malabrigo Rios. Let me show you guys here, covering up the price tag. Malabrigo Rios in their water green colorway. It's like a perfect seafoam, like a very light teal. It matches exactly what I'm wearing, and this is what I wore when I went into the store. It's like my favorite outfit, you guys, like a little sparkly top with my little, I call it like a pistachio green, but it's like a mint green probably, with a little cardigan on there. This is like 100% Megan today, so you guys are getting the best of the best. But this yarn is magnificent. I wish you guys could like squish this with me. It is amazing. I have purchased Malabrigo before. I love their, yarns, everything, but I've never tried their worsted weight before. So I'm hoping that these are going to make amazing mittens. And the mittens that I'm looking to make, as I look down at my notes here, the mittens that I'm looking at are called Changing Cable Mittens by Madeline Nancy. And it is like this beautiful open cable up these mittens. It's incredible with like a little seed stitch in between. Holy cow, they're the most beautiful mittens I've ever seen. And I'm geeked to start knitting them. In fact, the only reason I cast on these silly slippers is because I wanted to wait to show you guys this incredible yarn on the podcast before I break into it. So I think I'm going to wind it up and maybe cast on today or maybe tomorrow. What I'm going to try to do is knit these 2 at a time. Since I've been knitting socks 2 at a time, I figure I can knit anything 2 at a time. Oh, I'm really interested to see if I can knit my sleeves, my Julissa sleeves, 2 at a time. That might be a little crazy with like the whole body of the sweater hanging down, but kind of going back and forth in rows, I don't think it would be that bad, right? We'll try it. I can always like take them off, take one set off and then continue knitting in the round. But I'm going to try and make 2 at a time mittens. I'll just have to label it left, right, but that'll be easy, Oh, okay. Maybe you guys can help me because the way I want this, how you do 2 at a time is that there's basically like right side on one, left side, wrong side on the other, kind of cable needle. And so like the right side faces you and both socks are facing you with the right side facing you. Then you flip it around and you have the wrong side facing you. But it's, when you knit the right side, you knit the right side on the second one. When you knit the wrong side, you knit the wrong side on the second one. But with mittens, clearly there's a thumb. So I think I'm going to have to do it so that the thumbs kind of face the right, the appropriate mitten. And so I'm thinking I'm going to have them facing in like this rather than out like this, because that would confuse me. So I'm going to have to do it like this. Okay, I just figured it out. If you guys have any advice, please feel free to let me know, because I think I'm going to do it knitting them 1 and 1, but really it's just the thumb that I'm a little concerned for. I don't care. I'll just do it. I'll do it and I'll make it work. So that's it. This gorgeous seafoam color. Kind of smells like yarn. Like, not much. Take a big old whiff. So this was right next to this incredible skein up on there. And so I had to purchase them both. I do not want to do a 2-color mitten, but I had to get these because this is pretty much my favorite color, indigo. Like, oh my God, that's gorgeous. It's showing up pretty well. It is a bit more purple than how it looks in like on screen right now. But this is an incredible skein. Also, Malabrigo Rios, this colorway is called Purple Mystery. And it is incredible. This is also 100% pure merino superwash wool, 210 yards in 100 gram skein. I think this has to be a cowl. Well, so ideally what I want to do is knit mittens with this. If there's any left over, see if there's like a 2-color cowl, or maybe add just a cast on and a bind off row in this if there's not a lot. Maybe do a little border, but I need this like near my face, you guys. It's gorgeous. It's incredible. This color is perfect. So after I was Meg311yo on Instagram, I changed it to Indigo Knit because I really wanted to have like a knitting Instagram. But then, okay, so I had a phone maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and I was Meg311yo on that phone a long time ago. I deleted my account, and when I got a newer phone, you know, I hadn't been on Instagram for over a year. When I got a newer phone, Meg311yo was supposedly taken, even though I had deleted my old account forever ago. So I was Indigo Knit on Ravelry, on Instagram for like a year and a half. And then I was thinking about making a podcast, and I'm like, well, I really want to synchronize my Ravelry and my Instagram account, same name. So I tried one more time to change my name on Instagram from Indigo Knit to Meg311yo, and it worked. But that's where I love indigo yarn, because indigo is my favorite color. I think it's just so mysterious and dark and rich and bold, and it's everything I want in a colorway. Oh, and it feels so good. I wish you guys could just be here. I've unskeined this and reskeined it about 3 times because I'm just like, oh, okay, gotta skein it back up. And I'm like, no, one more time. Okay, I'll skein it back up. So this is not how it looked when I bought it at the store. It's got a couple of these little hangies, but they weren't there when I bought it. So River City, you guys are always professional, always great. I have reskeined this many times. So these are my 2 amazing purchases from River City Yarns. And that's, yeah, I can't wait. You guys, I really can't wait. So also when I was in Edmonton, I totally forgot about this. Also when I was in Edmonton, I was just shopping around the West Edmonton Mall, which is huge, like 5 square miles or something ridiculous, huge. And I saw a bead store that I'd been into before, but I love knitting with beads, clearly, as we can tell by my Mother of Dragons hitchhiker shawl over here. I like working with beads, and so this place was called Beadin', but I thought it was Bevan because the D kind of looked like a V, like it was very stylized and it was open. And so I'm thinking it's like heaven, but for beads. Instead it's Eden for beads. So Beadin' is clearly the name of it. I thought it was Bevan. Whatever, bead heaven. It works too. So, you know, it really could work. And I decided to pick up some seed beads because knitting with beads can be so much fun. And they were such a good price. I hope you can see that without it blowing out from this lighting. There we go. I got some really nice green, like a forest green, size 6 seed beads. And I got my beautiful indigo blue seed beads as well. I got 3 bags of each. And here, let me see if I can get that to look a little nicer. There you go. And I love knitting with beads. And so officially this is not a yarn purchase, but it is a yarn related, a knitting related purchase. And so these beads are awesome. And I asked her specifically, there was, you know, the lady working there. I said, hey, are these size 6 seed beads? Like, can you confirm? And she kind of looks at it. She's like, yeah, I think they are, but I honestly am not 100% sure. And I say, well, you know, the only reason I ask is because I have a very small darning needle that fits through a size 6 seed bead. I personally do not use the crochet hook method. I've heard that a lot of people have actually really hurt themselves on those teeny tiny needles, or the teeny tiny crochet hooks, and that if you accidentally kind of jab it into or under your fingernail, that it's horribly painful. And I've seen those tiny crochet hooks and they look horribly painful. So I have, you know, just a small needle that fits these size 6 seed beads. And she goes, well, why don't you just get a bead needle? And I'm like, what is that? She's like, it's a really small. And I was like, oh, well, you know, I'm using this for yarn, so I'm not using it for thread. I'm not sewing with it. I'm using it for knitting. And she goes, no, no, no. Like the whole thing. There we go. Get this out. I was like, there's no way my yarn, granted this is worsted, but there's no way that yarn is going to fit through that tiny needle. And I look at it and I'm like, where is the eye of this needle anyway? And she goes, no, 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 the whole thing is an eye. And she kind of like opens her eyes really wide like that. And let me see if I can do it. It opens up, and just like she said, the whole thing is an eye. And so it opens up, you can slip your yarn through there. And then what I do is I feed a couple of beads, maybe, you know, 10 beads, however long my yarn is. And I will, maybe I'll make a little tutorial about how I do beading, because I also do short rows a little differently. I've learned a way so that there are no holes in my short rows ever when I do short rows, and when I'm picking up those wraps and turns. You see here on my heels, I don't have any holes either side. So when I'm picking up for purled or picking up for knitted wraps and turns, I never have holes. So maybe I'll do you know, a little segment about how I bead and how I do short rows, because who knows, maybe you guys are interested in that. But I was really excited to find out that they have a bead needle, so that now I can just bead anything and use, if I can't find size 6 or 8 seed beads, maybe I could use daintier ones, whatever. Because these beads here are size 6 seed beads as well, that I purchased, you know, just at a yarn shop one time. I don't even remember where. But I was so excited to find out about the bead needle. So if you guys out there like knitting with beads, but you don't like doing the crochet hook method, maybe next episode, stick around. I'll find a way to show you guys how I do my beading, because I do use a bead needle, and I've never used a crochet hook. I just choose not to. That's my preferred method. So anyway, I got some beads, and that is part of my purchase. And they were, yeah, here you go. I was trying to avoid the price tag. But the blue were 89 cents and the green were $1.25. So not really breaking the bank. I spent less than $10 and I got six bags of these beads and a beading needle. So I think that was a pretty good purchase. And I've been knitting a ton of green and blue lately. And so I hope that these match something. I have no project in mind, but yarn I will not buy if I don't have a project in mind, because I will just grow my stash and I have no space. I literally don't have a house right now, you guys. So I'm not trying to build my stash. And so if I don't have a project in mind, or if I don't see a project in the yarn, then I won't buy it. Which kind of leads me to my travel story of the day, which takes place in Edmonton. This is just last week. And it takes place at River City Yarns, because they have such amazing samples knit up. And so every, you know, shelf of yarn is going to have a little sample knit up. It's also maybe going to have a shawl or a hat or whatever that they did using this yarn, right? Just a sample, a store sample. Super easy, right? So I go into River City Yarns and I'm kind of shopping around, and I have these two picked out. Within the first 5 minutes, I knew I was going to buy these. So I'm just kind of looking around, and for me, this is like a yarn destination, you know, River City, Edmonton, Alberta. But I was really looking around and just looking at all the yarns. And so this nice lady comes up, and I was admiring, it was an On the Spice Market shawl that was just a store sample. And I was like, this gorgeous shawl is sitting in a store instead of sitting on someone's shoulders right now. Like, oh my God, I thought it was a little crazy to just have it sitting out on the store, but I guess they need samples. So anyway, I'm admiring this shawl, and this lady comes up and she's like, oh, I knit this. And I was like, oh my God, great work. It's gorgeous. She had this beautiful gradient of red to pink. If you've never seen the shawl, look it up. It is incredible, gorgeous shawl. But we know how I feel about shawls. I don't care to knit shawls, but you know, it's kind of inspiring seeing all these other, you know, shawls knit up on sample. By the way, this beer gets a little better as you drink it. I'm still not going to buy it again. I don't think I'm going to do any more of those voodoo donuts, but oh well. So anyway, going on with my story. This lady kind of follows me through the store a little bit, and she's like, oh, you know, this gradient set, which is like $100, this gradient set right here would look really beautiful for on the spice market. And I look and they have my color palette. Like, it's a gorgeous gradient set. I was initially attracted to the greens to purples, but I'm like, I've been knitting so much green, purple, indigo blue. I've been knitting so much of that within the last year. I'm like looking at this kind of sunrise color, which I also love. I love every color in the rainbow, you guys. So I don't discriminate. I just happen to wear currently a lot of teals, blues, cool colors. But I see this hot color gradient, reds to yellows to oranges. Oh my God, it was gorgeous. And I agreed with her. I was like, oh yeah, that would actually make it very nice on the spice market. And she's like, oh, but you need a 6th color. Mind you, she doesn't work there. She just knows the people and is clearly a resident of Edmonton, a very nice lady who knits for the store, samples. And so she's, trying to sell me all this yarn, and she's like, oh, this gradient set, $100, plus like, oh, you need a 6th color here. So, and we're going over to the mini skein section. She's like, oh, this one would look really nice. And I totally agree. It would look fantastic. And then I pick up this gorgeous Stellina sparkly base, like a full skein for the kind of contrasting color that's in the shawl, the main color. And I was like, oh my God, that looks so good. Holy cow though. And I'm looking at this and the gradient set was about $50 or $60. The skein of Stellina yarn, which was Sweet Georgia, I want to say merino nylon Stellina. I'm not sure what base it is. Long story short, I didn't purchase anything, or I didn't purchase this, but that was $34 for the skein of Stellina yarn. And then I was going to have to get another mini. This was going to be like a $110 shawl. And so I'm sitting there and this lady is so nice, but I don't really have the heart to tell her I can't, I don't actually want to purchase this right now because I've got a couple of things in the queue. I'm really not looking to knit a shawl right now. I mean, I had my own reasons, but she was just so sweet. And she's like, oh, this would look great. She's pulling skeins down and my arms are like full with yarn. And I'm like, yeah, that looks great. It does. It looks so nice. So anyway, I finally had to kind of tell her, like, you know what, like, thank you so much for your advice. You're definitely right. I'm going to think about this. I really have to think about this and look around a little bit more, but thank you so much for, for your advice. And she was really helpful. And so I'm sitting there and I'm thinking about it and I'm like, God, this is a gorgeous mix. It was like a dark charcoal gray with this, clear silver Stellina was going to be the contrasting main color, plus all these gorgeous reds, oranges, yellows, and maybe a green or maybe a yellow. I had this extra mini that I was, contrasting between. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, do I have $110 for a shawl I may not knit? No. Do I have $110 for my stash in case I decide to knit this shawl or a gradient shawl or something? No. So I had to put it all back. I felt so bad. I really did. I felt so bad putting it all back, but I didn't want to make a purchase I might have regretted. And so whatever, I just picked up the 2 skeins. These beads I bought at the mall, so I did not buy them at River City Yarns. Oh, although I asked Tracy, because she knows the store fairly well. And I was like, oh, do you know if they have beads here? She's like, yeah, they've got some, beads over here. And they have like vials of mixed beads, but there's no seed beads. So no single color. There's like vials of mixed beads. And then they've got a very large selection of Swarovski beads. Swarovski crystal beads, just in case your $110 shawl needs to turn into a $200 shawl. They've got incredible Swarovski crystal beads, and I almost purchased them, you guys, because I love shiny things. I love sequins. I love beads. I love crystals. I love, shiny jewelry. I love shiny things, it's like, I'm just attracted to it. I just want it all. So anyway, I did not walk out with Swarovski crystals, but River City Yarns, now I know if I ever decide to make a real heirloom quality shawl or something where I need a few beads, I'm going to go there and I'm going to get Swarovski beads. So that was good. Anyway, I always have fun shopping at yarn stores and whatnot. But look at me rambling on. I think that's all I have for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it to the end here, thank you very much. I am so excited to do this on a regular basis. Hopefully I'll have enough to fill an hour-long segment each time. Maybe not. Maybe it'll just be a little shorter going forward because I've shown you my collections. I've shown you my Egypt collection. I've shown you my amigurumi collection. So moving forward, I think it's going to be a little bit more standard. Works in progress, finished objects, you know, some purchases if I do make some, and kind of just general yarn chat. So hope that works for you guys. Thank you for spending time with me. Please do, if you don't mind, you know, please do give this video a thumbs up on YouTube. It helps other YouTubers find me and find my videos, and that would be very nice of you to do that. If you like me, go ahead, subscribe to my channel so you get little notifications whenever I post new videos, new content. And as always, please add me as a friend on Ravelry. Find me on Instagram. Again, my name is Meg311Yo. And I will see you guys next time. So thank you so much. Bye-bye. Ma salama. And I will see you guys another time. Take care.